Good. Okay, hey, so to answer some questions on the Percussion Solutions page, I've got my kids helping me. So this is Owen, my son, and my daughter Ella is filming here. So we posted some information about how to audition kids. So I'm actually going to go through the audition that we use for 5th graders. So at Prosper, we have kids start beginning percussion in 6th grade, which is their first year of middle school. So when they're in 5th grade, in the spring, we have them do an audition process. And so this is how we audition potential percussionists. So I've actually instructed him to do some things wrong on purpose, just so that we will kind of get a sense for what it's like to have somebody mess some stuff up, and then how we go through that process, okay? So the first thing that we do, and I will post the rubric, I've already posted it, but I'll post it again. So this is sort of the rubric that we use and sort of the things that we do. So the first thing we do is we have their parents fill out the information about like what sports they play and what they like. So we'll talk to the kid a little bit, and we'll say like, hey, what's your favorite sport? What sport do you like to watch?
Hockey.
Hockey, cool. What's your favorite team?
Stars.
Stars. Who's your favorite player?
Saving.
Okay, cool. And so we'll get a sense of knowing, like, you know, do they make eye contact with us? Do they answer? Are they responsive? And that sort of thing. So you kind of get to know the kid a little bit. Ask them if they play any sports, which is really important, because if they play, if they're adamant, and if you talk to the parents and they're super, super into sports, that's the first indication that, you know, at some point you might have a conflict between band and sports, right? So if a kid's dad is the baseball coach and they look like an athletic team, and they're saying, yeah, we're only going to do band for maybe a year, and then my kid's going to become a baseball star, then obviously that's something you want to know. So I start fishing around for answers right away. Talk a little bit about academics. Hey, what's your favorite class in school that isn't PE?
Math.
Math. Okay, so do you get good grades in math? Do you do your homework? Yeah, okay. So then we talk to kids about that. Exactly. So, and then we get to know the student a little bit, and we do those sorts of things. So that's a really great way. It kind of breaks the ice too, and gets the kid talking, so that if you can kind of, you know, get a sense for what the kid is like. Okay. First thing we're going to do is we're going to do the timekeeping. So I'm going to ask my daughter to kind of film my son here. I'm going to sit here. But what we're going to do is, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to patch. We're going to get kids to clap along with the beat. And then if they can find the pulse, then we'll ask them to do maybe some more advanced things, like clapping on the upbeat or alternating their feet, right? See if they have coordination with each foot or each hand or something like that. So I'm going to turn on some music, and then we'll go through kind of that process. So we're going to do something that's kind of moderate, kind of pop song. So we're just going to find the pulse with our feet and our hands. Okay, do what I do. Cool. So we're basically just seeing if the student can find the pulse. All right. If they can find it on their own, even better. Okay. Now let's try and do the upbeats. And 3, and 4, and 1, and 2. Let's switch to clapping. Let's do only the right foot on the tap. Switch to the left foot, ready to go. Cool. So anything like that, that's fine. So anything like that, so that a student can find a pulse. We've used pop music before. We've even used things like a march, the Stars and Stripes or something like that. But anything to demonstrate that a child can find the pulse. If the child can't find the pulse, the audition is probably pretty much over. Because if they can't find the pulse, then there's probably no point going on. Okay. We also ask the kids if they have any prior music experience. So if they have an elementary music program or something like that, if they played the recorder or if they played piano. So in this case, we have a lot of students that play piano. And so, hey, did you play piano when you were a kid? Yeah, so they played a little bit of piano. So what we do is we have the student come over and sit on the piano. And just with the right hand only, there's a few simple quarter note etudes here. So if you've played piano before, why don't you try and play that? Cool, and then we'll go through a few of those. Now for students who don't have piano experience, and many won't, then what we'll do is we'll teach them how to identify where some notes are. So we'll go, hey, you see these groups of 3 and these groups of 2. The note on the bottom of the group of 3 is called F sharp. So do you see the 3 notes and then the space and the 2 notes? So this is F sharp. Can you play all of the F sharps that you can find on the keyboard? Awesome. So now let's find the note C. So next to these 2 on the 2 black notes, C is going to be the note on the left of the first 2. So this note right here is C. Can you play all of the C's on the keyboard? Cool. And so that shows you at least a little bit of an indication that they have the ability to navigate the geography of the keyboard instrument. So that gives some indication. If kids are fumbling around and they're having a difficulty, and also we're just kind of reacting to how well they respond to our instructions and that sort of thing. So that's another thing that we do to try and handle all of that. So the next thing we'll do is we'll have them do some coordination things. So let's sit down and we basically do like a beginning drum lesson. So we're going to have Owen sit down here and we talk about, we're just going to do some monkey see, monkey do, okay? So I'm going to teach you the very first thing that we teach our beginners. When you get into 6th grade, this will be the first thing that we teach you. We're going to teach you 8 on a hand, which is really simple. We're going to play 8 times on our right hand and 8 times on our left hand. It's just going to be like a toddler, like a little baby waving goodbye to grandma and grandpa, right? So we're just going to wave back and forth. So what I want you to do is I want you to do what I do. So make a cool little pizza slice and put your sticks up in the air like this. And then we're going to hit 8 times on the right and 8 times on the left. I'm going to do it first, so watch me, and then you'll do it next. All right, so I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Why don't you give that a try? Cool. Now at this point, you have students who do things wrong. So let's do the thing where the kids put their index finger on. So why don't you play it wrong for me? Exactly. That's a common one. All right. And then we teach them to pinch the stick, put your thumb and your index finger on each side of the stick, and then make a teeter-totter spot. And we'll give some short instructions and then ask the child to try it again. All right, now that you know about the teeter-totter spot, let's try it again. But why don't you play it too loose, like with your pinkies flying off the stick. So. Yeah. And then again, we'll make a correction. Okay, I like that. You let the stick bounce. That was really, really good. But let's make sure that our back 3 fingers are wrapped around the stick. Last time, you and me together. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yay! All right, yeah, nice job. Whatever, you give them a high five. Cool. Then, usually on a whiteboard or something, I'll have some stickings written out. These are, just some basic stickings. So without telling the child what this means, so we are not going to say that it's right or left hand or anything like that. We're just going to say, hey, and usually I'm writing something down. I'll go, hey, so take a look at this for a second or two. And then when you're ready, I want you to play number 1. All right. So whenever you're ready, give it a shot. Go ahead. Okay. So in this case, it's a paradiddle, and the student played it evenly. They played it with the strokes that we had already done, etc., etc. Some of the kids won't. They'll ask you, well, what does the R mean and what does the L mean? If they can do it without asking, they just have that inclination that they just recognize the notation and that they're able to do it. Some of the students will do it unevenly. They'll go R, L, R, L, R, L, L. They'll play it unevenly. So that's sort of what you're evaluating. You're evaluating, like, do they have some indication and kind of an affinity or an ability to look at notation and simply play it. So that's the next thing we'll do. Then the last thing that we do on a stick and pad is we do just a call and response. So I'm going to play for 4 counts, and then I just want you to play it back to me, okay? So get your pizza slice and your sticks up, And then I'm gonna play, and then let's just have you respond, okay? One. So I'm gonna play first and go. Okay, so obviously what we'll do is we'll keep getting harder and harder and more advanced and use more syncopations. And if the kids can do it, you'd be surprised. Some of the kids are really, really adept at this, and they have really, really good ears, and so they're able to do that. Okay. Then I always lie and I say, oh, hey, today's my birthday. Will you sing me happy birthday? So sing me happy birthday and just make sure you sing it bad, okay?
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Okay, cool. So you don't. So if the student doesn't sing it in pitch or something like that, but at least they sing it in rhythm. Like that's one thing. But that'll give you a really quick indication of their oral recognition, and also if they're embarrassed to do it in front of you or something like that, or if they're not willing to play. So yeah. So Owen's laughing. And then the last part of the rubrics are the commitment and the activities, and a lot of that comes down to the handwritten information that actually their parents fill out. So, are they indicating that they want to do percussion for only 1 year for beginning percussion? In other words, they just want to get their fine arts credit and then they're going to go off and do something else. Are they interested in doing percussion, doing band for middle school, and then after that, maybe not? Or are they indicating that they would, that they have a distinct interest in doing band percussion all the way through high school and so forth and so on? And then the other thing on the handwritten information is about discipline and practice. So that goes back to the comment about like, hey, what kind of grades do you get? Do you do your homework? And, do you have chores at home? And so we usually add that into our banter and try and fish around for some of that information. And then lastly, kind of the responsiveness, and also we learn a lot about the parents on this too. You have some really kind of helicopter parents that almost want to get in and do the audition for the child, and they're kind of coaching them from the side. You kind of get the soccer mom or the little league dad who almost is coaching their child through it. We also have parents that say, well, Uncle Bob is a drummer and little Johnny's been taking lessons from Uncle Bob for the last 10 years. Shouldn't that guarantee him a spot? And the answer is no, that doesn't guarantee you a spot. Actually, the only thing that I found that really helps students in their audition process and be successful is piano lessons. Very few have taken drum lessons and really has that helped them in any extraordinary way. So anyway, I hope that kind of walks you through the process of how we audition those kids. It actually doesn't take very long, especially if the kids fumble through the first few timekeeping and some of the basic things, then we usually don't go on with the audition. We usually just cut it right there, and we're always really friendly and really, really positive, but we do cut that audition short, especially if you're trying to get through 40, 50, 60 kids in an evening or something like that. So if you can get it and really streamline it to only about 5 minutes, then that's perfect. And we also stagger the time. So we tell like a group of 10 kids to come at this time, and then the next 10 group of kids to come at a later time, so that we don't have parents waiting around all the time. So anyway, I hope that's helpful. Thank you so much. And if you have any questions, just post them in the comments.